So Stock Analysis today wants to look at the world of commodities and how we can benefit from that through our investments going forward. But I wanted to set the scene and just look at, say, copper. In 1900, the world was consuming about 440,000 tonnes of copper per annum. And up until 1900, the total amount of copper that had been mined and consumed by the world was about 19 million tonnes. This year, in 2011, we'll consume 19 million tonnes in 1 year. And Tom Albanese from Rio Tinto has said that over the next 20 years, the world will consume as much copper as it has consumed up until today. So you can see this massive expansion in use and demand for copper, which is going to keep the price high. And what we can see from that as well is that whilst the population has increased by about 4.5 times over the last 110 years, the demand for copper has actually increased by about 42 times. So the multiplier is not linear. Whilst the population has increased by 4.5 times, the demand for copper has increased by 42 times. And that multiplier can be transferred to other commodities, whether it's sugar, nickel, oil, whatever. The demand for these commodities is rising exponentially, and that's the key. Look at China, for instance. That's another driver for commodities. China's latest 5-year plan has said that they will be putting in place about 1,000 megawatts of coal-fired power station every week. They're commissioning 16 megawatts of wind-fired power station every day. That coal-fired power is going to use 250 tonnes of new coal demand every year, and that will emit, by the way, about 420 million tonnes of carbon dioxide every year, in addition to what they're currently emitting. 420 million tonnes of carbon dioxide is what Australia currently emits every year from its total power production. So that gives you some idea of scale. So Stock Analysis will be looking at ways we can benefit from this strong growth in commodities and the undoubted long-term price rises that we're going to see in commodities. However, we need to look at the future of supply and demand, and really it's going to be difficult to see supply of all of these commodities meeting demand as it's growing today. The two won't meet. Supply is going to peak. Already in oil the supply is peaking, and in copper it will probably peak in 10 or 15 years. So we have to look at the population level. What population level is going to be sustainable to maintain human life on the planet? And as it is at the moment with 7 billion people, really it's not a sustainable situation. We simply cannot supply all the commodities that we need to feed a $7 billion people population. So looking forward, I think Stock Analysis is going to find plenty of opportunities to invest in commodities going forward, and we need to keep an eye on how population trends are going. Thank you.